so they can totally hear us right now.
Hi guys.
Hi guys.
Another Klon.
Another Klon for the world.
What we needed.
It is what the world needs.
Today you should come out with the weight loss.
You really ruined this one.
What shakes your hands so much?
The front door. It shakes downstairs.
The foundation.
We'll be filming in here and they'll shut the door and the whole foundation shakes. It's like this building's made of paper.
Thanks.
18 seconds is what it says.
Yeah, baby. Not sure you want to wear this.
Put it on later.
Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to a special Monday Live. It's technically a short circuit. It can be whatever you want it to be today. I have Robert Keeley with me right here. Good to have you. We have Aaron over here on the guitar.
Yes.
And this is all about a brand new Keeley release, the Manis. It's on manual focus, so that was stupid. Top down. Let's do top down. There we go. Yeah, so this is a brand new release. We're going to dive into this whole thing and I guess just hang out. That's the point. And also, we're not wearing headphones on purpose, so we're getting like no audio feedback, and it immediately feels weird.
It does.
But we'll break through it. All right. Are we good over there on the audio front? Everybody good? All right. We got the thumbs up. And I don't know where to start. There's a lot we could do here.
Thanks for inviting us up.
You're
first of
welcome.
all, man.
You're
It's
welcome.
so fun.
It's always fun
and
to have you here.
I saw a whole group of your employees at the new place. Wow, is that fantastic? So impressive.
Yeah, it's been a wild few months. This building's always been here. You've been here, obviously, but the downstairs here was the manufacturing, and we gutted that. It looks like a tornado hit down there. There's like trash piled up everywhere, but we moved that all over, and then media has expanded and taken the whole upstairs, and then we're gonna do powder coat and printing down there, but it's not set up. So we're in the midst of like a funky move, but we made this happen. So we just set up a table.
All
We're doing a
right.
short circuit
This
in
is
here.
great.
We've never done a short circuit in this room.
All right.
Which is fun. So you have your computer, audio precision equipment. We
I
have
do.
this
You
is
have
gonna
one
It's the nerd.
this is gonna be so nerdy
Yes.
that a lot of people are gonna hate this, but that's why we're doing it. And then if we do the top down, we are gonna have the switchback set up here. Green will be the Manis, and then we'll have the original here, and we'll be able to go back and forth with some demo of that. And then we have kind of the innards, right? The
Yeah.
innards of the Manis, and we're going to talk about this in more detail. But I guess the first thing I want to do is talk about, you've had this kind of a new style of overdrive. It's like a new birth of format for you.
Yeah.
And I have a few of them here. I think I'm missing the Nobles.
Yeah. Just one.
But yeah.
Just one. The Noble Screamer.
Yeah, so we've got these, if you can see all those. They're they're really cool.
Yeah.
And now this is the newest addition to that series.
It is and it isn't, because these two here, and
Yeah.
the Angry Orange and the Noble Screamer, the one with the green knobs,
Yep.
those are technically the limit of our 4-in-1 drive. We have four 4-in-1 drives. Now they have the same format, and we make use of the dual switches, like for the Muse driver or the Mark III. They do bass and clipping. And
So it's the same mechanical, but it is not actually the same.
no.
So the Manis is a standalone, whereas these are, you're calling them like, when they are, kind of a
These.
4-in-1 approach to
Yes.
a famous drive. So.
Yes, where these on the 4-in-1, it has two nearly identical stock clone pedals in each one. So it might have the clones of each pedal in there. So it might have the Rat, and
Yeah.
it might have the Super Overdrive, or it might have the Nobles ODR1 and a Tube Screamer built to their completeness, and then use the toggle switches to switch what part of the pedal.
I was trying to think of the first time we ever talked about clones. I don't know when it was, but I've always loved this.
Yeah.
But this was you making a not Klon. Like, this is
Yes.
kind of the first not a Klon for real. Like, you were like, I'm going to do a Klon thing, but from scratch. And you and
Yes.
Creighton did this.
Exactly.
So I guess for the sake of, like, people don't get to hear these stories, this was like 2016.
I think
That's
so.
my date on here.
I just saw the picture of it, so I could probably pull it up 2016. And how it worked out is really so fun. So I was dreaming up ways for Creighton and I to kind of do what pedal guys do, and that's like, how can we get this Klon sound, but like do it our own way, because we're engineers, so we're trying to figure out new and different
Yeah.
ways to do things. And literally over 3 days, I put it on this dry erase board in my office at 1733 Frets, the old place. And we just, on this dry erase board, just kept on working different ideas, or I would draw a part of the schematic, or I would take a part of the tone control, or a clean blend part. And over 3 days, we kind of designed the whole pedal.
I love this because it was on my boards. I used to have the Temple board.
Yeah.
I loved it because it did the Klon thing, but it was unique. Anyway, so this is no more, right?
I don't think we make much of those.
Yeah. So that's just
That's a
kind
thing
of
of
your
the past.
the lineage of getting to this, that you went through this in some way. I always like showing that, because when you think of these compared, it's hilarious.
Yes.
Like, this is amazing.
Yes.
But what you've done here is like, it's just this evolution. I love seeing the evolution of brands and people that make stuff get better and better and better.
Right.
And just visually looking at this is like,
That's hysterical.
It's
So
amazing.
it's about 10 years of progress for Keeley.
Yeah. And this doesn't look bad at all. This doesn't sound bad. It's just, you guys have like nuked the world. This stuff is so good. And
Thanks,
it's
man.
unique. And the way, especially the way this 4-in-1 system on these, now we have this
Yeah.
diode versus transistor, which is going to be exciting to show people. But
Yeah.
I was just thinking about everyone has a Klon journey.
Yep.
I've heard people talk about. I've heard it's like people. I heard John Mayer on the interview with Rick Rubin. He was talking about, he had to find the door to the Grateful Dead, right? I think the Klon, everyone finds a door to it. It's like you inevitably land there, and it's just interesting to me. So like, what was the first time you knew of the Klon? Like
I
way
actually
back?
do remember, like, specifically even almost where I was at the time, because my story starts almost right off the bat with David Zabatos of Legendary Tones, the Time Machine Boost,
Yeah.
and his
Great pedal, by the way.
he was really instrumental in me understanding the Klon from the first part. So he said, "Hey, have you heard of this Klon pedal?" And I said, "Yeah." As a matter of fact, Jack Orman told me that there's a voltage doubler in there,
Like Yoda.
and he's like, "I have one." And I was like, "I can send it to you." And I was like, "Okay, great," because I'm trying to work on this katana circuit, the modern part of the TMB. And sure enough, I got it, and I didn't understand it at first too. I was like, "This is not me. This is very strange," And but I did like all the ideas of running the FETs in the katana at high voltages, which is what the Klon had done. So it introduced me to the charge pump, and that was literally back in 2001, 2002.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how the Klon Centaur feels like it's replaced the Tube Screamer. Like, all of us, like, you did Tube Screamer mods forever. The Tube Screamer was like it's like the cheeseburger of pedals. Like, everyone had to have it, and it's so normalized. And I think we're at a place where there's been so many good takes of the Klon Centaur that it feels normalized. And to be honest, and I'm not just saying this because you're sitting here, this is one of the cooler, like, finally interesting things I've seen. And like, even with the Nada Klon and me, I did it in the kit because it's like, there's a lot of great Klon. Like, do we need another? That's never a good reason not to do something. I feel like we don't need another one. Everybody's customer base likes what they do.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, I was like, I want to do the kit because it feels fresh and different. And then when I think about people and takes on the Centaur, this is the first thing I've seen in a very long time. When you were telling me this idea, we were texting or talking. It's probably last year.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a cool idea. So anyway, for what that's worth, I think it's just another step in the evolutionary, the Darwin of pedal evolution. Yeah. So Yeah, where do we want to start? We want to just play it? You want to play it for a little bit?
Let's do it. I mean, that's what's interesting too, because like Josh said with the Oxblood,
Yeah.
it still wasn't really a true Klon.
Not at all.
For us. And so this is what's funny about the Manis is it's the truest to the Klon that we've done.
Absolutely.
But then we actually, like you said, we've evolved it.
Yep.
So it's really interesting. So yeah, I mean, we could play through just to show people, because believe it or not, your Klon was a great resource for us.
I know.
Oh, I
during
mailed
the
you
development.
guys
Yeah,
one of these
dude.
clones.
Yeah, I think it was that one.
Yeah, this
Just
one, I think.
and so we could just play test and
Yeah.
compare.
So again, in the setup here, we have the switchback, and red will be the Centaur, the original, and then when I hit this switch, the green will turn that loop on. So it's a good way to go back and forth. So if you're a viewer, just pay attention here to the green light, red light. And we'll start on...
Hey, if you're a viewer, this is our reverb.
Oh,
So if you're wondering
this is
what
a
it is.
sneaky little
Sneaky
add-on
boy.
here.
I know. I wanted
Sneaky
to give
boy.
away the secret right off the bat.
Maestro, before we play, at least give people a breakdown of these
Yeah.
switches on
Sure.
the Manis are down,
Love it.
and so that is
Yeah.
classic.
If you want the classic clone type of circuit, then turn the bass boost off,
Okay.
and then
Stock.
and then put it in germanium diode, which is what Bill made excellent
Yeah.
use of. And so you can see them.
What are you using there? What are are these NOS germanium diodes?
No, I think they're just kind of off the shelf modern production germanium diodes. I think we get one in
They look
34A. Yeah, they do.
My guess is if it looks old, it sounds good.
That is the adage.
Yeah, I meant to ask that earlier. All right.
We specifically sourced ones that look old.
So it is true. That's a key thing here. If you're like the person who's really in this rabbit
Yeah.
hole,
This is the
usually
difference.
in a Klon, you'll have people trade out the germaniums with like a Schottky diode, and that has a super similar forward voltage. And if you've watched Short Circuit, I've taught y'all what that means. So he's actually using the actual germanium diodes in here and not doing like the replacement Schottky thing, which is further cool. So when this says germanium, both of these really are germanium.
Yep, it is.
Yep.
That's one of the things I thought made it kind of cool when we were thinking through this in the beginning, and I thought to put the germanium transistor in there. I'm like, I'm not stepping outside of the tone myth at all.
Yeah.
And so this toggle switch right here goes between these two little germanium diodes there, and then it switches between these flying saucer looking top hat looking Russian transistors that we both get from Ukraine.
We do. We have a guy. There's a guy. All right. Yeah. Let's play it here.
I think we're starting on the Manis, right? If it's green.
Yeah. Let's start there. Yeah. I have to. This is how this goes. I've done this a lot. I mean, from the Bad Monkey episode to whatever. When you're shooting, there comes this point. This is so. I'm like having to look at the screen to make sure, like, because you can't hear any difference in the room at all.
We talked earlier about the real test is the
Oh yeah. Yeah.
it's a little different.
The big problem here is the Klon's paint and the size of the case adds like a
More air.
a harmonic resonance,
It
Robert,
does.
that you'll never achieve here.
Not with simple aluminum. No.
Simple aluminum, you failed immediately.
Yeah, this is actually powder coated on the inside.
Yes, it is, and it's demagnetized.
Yeah.
Have you ever demagnetized your circuits?
Not any of the
A
aluminum
lot
products.
a lot. The way to tell a pro pedal builder apart from a novice is that the novices don't demagnetize their Hammond enclosures.
So what we do is we magnetize our screwdrivers so that every
Yeah.
screw that goes in is,
Yeah, it's amazing the electromagnetic properties of aluminum.
it is. Fascinating stuff.
Someone's gonna think I'm serious. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep
Let's
going.
keep going.
I'll max the gains out. That's something
Let's
I
do
like
that.
to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Ready?
Yep.
in switch.
Yeah, it's identical. And then gain all the way down is
Hey,
fun.
that's a fun
boost.
one too.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just turn them both up because it gets a little quieter. How do you feel about people using? This is just I'm baiting you for a rage bait question here. It's just that most people use the Klon and the diodes aren't on. They're not
I
even
know.
on.
It's funny, isn't it? They're a little bit on. I mean, we can
It is
study
so
it here.
little.
It is so little. Because
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, there's 3 paths that kind
Yeah.
of that form the output.
Does that bother you at night? Are you ever are you ever grilling one of your steaks or some of this food I see you cooking and you're just like, the diodes aren't really on, man.
Yeah. Sometimes I have
Most
sleepless
people
nights
really
over it.
love that. I've always used the Klon as like a high, almost a distortion.
Right.
And that's what I like about it. But yeah, this is nailing it both ways. And then
Yeah.
another fun test is, well, no, we already did
I
it.
noticed when
Yeah.
Trey sent pictures of how he had the pedals, the 2
Yeah.
Manis pedals set up, and he even had his little white markers on where the
Yeah.
knobs are set. Amazingly, the drive and level set very low, and I'm like, wow, that's not a lot of
Yeah.
effect. You know what I mean? You could dial it up a little bit more.
Yeah, I've made the joke, and it's not fair, but it's like just buy a micro amp. Like sometimes,
Exactly.
Like sometimes I'm like, just buy it. It's like $30 pro on reverb. Just buy the micro amp. But
Just totally fine.
there is some cool properties to the circuit. And again, I really there's a lot about the pedal culture and the Klon fanaticism that drives me insane. I love it though, and I do. What's hard is I truly do love this circuit. I think it has some specialness to it.
It does.
And people may perceive me sometimes as like hating it. I'm never hating it. I just love good ironies and like when people don't notice what they're saying or understand something. Sometimes the internet repetition of non-fact is just amazing to me. So yeah, but I do think the Klon circuit is amazing. So
It is.
let's remove this and put another one of these in.
Yeah.
And let's shoot out between the
There
G
you go.
diode and
Yeah.
the transistor. Does that sound
Sure.
good?
It's interesting you talking about people saying that you hate the Klon, because my show can speak to it, but when we were originally developing the idea, that's kind of what inspired it, was
Really?
how do we make something for people that hate a Klon?
Yeah. That's a great. And one of the other things, I think a lot of people might hate it just because they're sick of hearing about it,
Right.
or they're sick of the conversation because it is utterly exhausting sometimes.
If you happen to be a telly guy, it might not be your first pedal that you
Yeah.
pick, no matter how
Yeah.
much you want to like it.
For me, like Jazz Masters, bridge pickups, it's one of the best sounding high gain overdrives that
Yeah.
I will ever use.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I think it does depend on when I plug Les Pauls and stuff into it. I love it with Strats. I love
Yeah.
it with Jazz Masters. The Telecaster can be weird with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try. So green is original here.
Yeah.
Set this one up to this
So
one.
this
will be the red
so our
one.
red will be
and our
germanium
thing.
transistor, and then
Yeah.
I think we'll talk about what in the heck that even means in a second
Yes.
for all the short circuit
Sure.
people.
If you do the drive at, like, let's say 2 o'clock, that's
Okay.
gonna, I mean, as we were talking about how people leave the drive down, that's a really good point.
You're
to
going to start hearing it more.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's even go more.
Yeah.
So yeah, you start to hear in the Klon circuit, if you're new here, and I haven't breadboarded it on the short circuit yet, but basically you have a hard clipper, and that's the same as like the Diode 250, the RAT, the DS1, all those pedals, the OCD. You have this amplifier in the front, and then at the end of the amplifier, there are diodes, passive semiconductors, and they garble up the signal and cut the top of it off like a skill saw. Like you're like, you know, so you don't really hear those diodes, or in this case, transistors. And that can be confusing. The transistors, the way he's using them is in the place of clipping diodes.
Right.
He's not using them as amplifiers. And that's why I'm doing this as a short circuit, because it's fascinating. But the point is, the more you drive that signal, the more signal is coming from the amplifier, the more you're going to hear the clipping. And this is one of those phenomenons this is what people love about a rat pedal with the gain off. You're really just hearing the op amp. And then you actually, and you did this way before me, you mod a rat, you take the diodes out.
Yep.
You hear the op amp clipping.
Exactly.
So, yeah, hard clippers. That's the subject of this episode. Is like, this is a way to do hard clipping that's really fascinating.
Yeah.
So let's play it, and we'll start on the diode. I immediately
Hear that saturation?
It's way more saturated,
and it's like rolled off.
Yeah, let's do a little more volume. Let's see.
Just to play like single note stuff,
Yeah.
you really hear it with like the E to the G string.
So immediately the germanium transistor clipping is going to have a lower forward voltage, which means it's going to clip earlier than the diode, and you're going to lose a little volume.
Yeah.
So in comparison, you need to fairly
for
bump
it.
that a
Yeah.
little.
Yeah.
But this is going to be the germanium transistor mode is going to be more compressed. These are what are the buzzwords? Compressed.
Compression,
And there's more
sustain,
saturation.
Hairy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hairy's a favorite. Hairy.
What did we
Juicy?
say? What did
I've
we
heard
say?
people
What
say
It adds,
juicy.
it adds juicy.
did we say like what was the phrase we're gonna put on a shirt? Klon.
Oh,
It's the-
we said.
Oh dang.
Oh, it was such a
Oh,
good
it's so
shirt. It
good.
was during the sound check
Oh
part.
dang. Because
This
that's
has an emphasis in the Klon frequency. Something like that.
Oh,
That's it.
This is. You
Dang
said
it.
the
Peak
Klon-
resonance at the
peak Klon
Reson-
frequency.
Yes.
Klon frequency.
Peak Klon frequency.
All right.
PKF.
Yes.
Here's diode.
Yeah, here's
diode is green.
Yeah.
Transistor is red.
Switch again.
Yeah.
Really hear it there.
So that was obviously I'm maxing the drive, which means we're pushing all the signal all the potential of the circuit across that clipping section. This is going to be most audible. So yeah, this is full potential of the pedal, I guess. I mean, technically that'd be tone control up too, but I don't want to do that.
That sounds a little loud.
That's harsh.
Yeah, let's do that again. It's
Yeah.
super interesting. And then maybe after you do the lead line, do like
A big chord.
chords.
Yeah. I'll start with that actually.
Yeah,
It's a huge difference.
yeah, it's a big deal. That's really cool.
It is so fun that these particular Russian transistors have got a lower clipping voltage. It keeps it more compressed, more saturated, and it just takes some of those spikes out, that
Yeah.
peak Klon frequency.
Peak Klon frequency.
1K.
Yeah, I'm
a lot of
thinking
fun.
about. Yeah, I tell you what I'll do. I'm gonna zoom in the overhead cam just a little bit. So let's do this. Yeah, leave that overhead up. Let's zoom in a bit. There we go. So, and I have this. So, again, what we're talking about here is here's all your short circuit peeps. This is your classic diodes. You guys have seen this a million times. We've talked about it in the Electra course. Again, in short circuit, there's like 20 something episodes. You don't have to be caring about the Electra circuits to watch the diode part of it, because the circuits are all the same. So if you want to understand a little bit more about diodes, go to the Electra, choosing your diodes. But he has transistors. See these UFO flying saucer things? These are actual transistors, and he's using only 2 legs of the transistor. So the way that this works is a transistor, base, and emitter. If you just go base emitter and let the collector fly open, clip it off, don't use it, keep it off your breadboard, right? Like if you just do that, like put it on 2 legs, it becomes a diode. And this is something that I first saw from Jack Norman, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Where did you first? I mean, it
Well,
was somewhere on like DIY stomp boxes or somewhere like that.
Using transistors for diodes.
Or maybe like one of the full tone pedals or some. Well, he did the MOSFETs.
Kind of,
Yeah.
actually, when I was in school, I kind of heard about this type of thing in engineering school, and it was like, this is a diode junction in this transistor.
Yeah.
You could use it as a regular diode junction, and that kind of always stuck with me.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when they were making the transistor, we're like William Shockley and those guys in the 40s. They were like, the diode was there, and then they kind of stumbled into, if we modify a diode, we might could amplify.
Right.
Yeah, which is a whole other. That's way over my head. But that thing is really interesting. Again, it's an evolution of electronics. So you're taking transistors.
Yep.
Really, any transistor, you give it a shot, and that base and emitter can become the anode or cathode, the negative positive. You can put it on your DCA. This guy, sorry, we use this on short circuit a lot. So you put it in here, turn it on, and it'll measure it. Let's do one.
Yep.
I just happened to bring a bunch. Yeah, let's pull that one out.
Yeah, you can probably see a little bit better than I got all three right there.
Yeah, on this though, you want to leave one of them off. So we want to let the
collector off.
On this, it happens to be that middle one. This is so funny. Here we go.
This is great.
Move Grimace.
Yep. Bye, Grimace.
I never got the Grimace shake. Did you guys get the Grimace shake?
I didn't get a Grimace shake.
That's probably why we're still here.
Big McDonald's fan.
So you just lift the collector. If you'll notice, I don't have it in the breadboard. I just lifted it out, and I'm going to hit test component or on, and on the DCA, it's just going to detect nothing. Apparently, hold on. Maybe that's not the collector.
Did I instruct you wrong?
Probably not. Let's see here. It's down. The pin out is what. They're different on every transistor. We had it working a minute ago. There we go. Diode junction. I left that collector off.
0.398.
0.398 diode.
Yeah.
And it says Shez is a new word.
Words is
Shows and says.
Klon Shez. The red wire, whatever. It tells you here on the DCA. So we have a 0.398 on that one. And that's low.
Just for funsies, put this...
Like a 1 in
Yeah.
34 is like 40.
This one was 0.7.
0.7, yeah.
0.7 volts.
I've seen them down low, but that is really low. So this is a silicon 1N4148.
Yep.
This is like your classic tube screamer diode or something. Yep. And again, if this is all new to you, go to the short circuit stuff and look at my diode. 0.7. So that is like 3 times higher headroom. So think of the diodes again. I don't want to repeat what I've already done for an hour months ago. But the diodes, you can think of them as the headroom of an amp. That's like the easiest way I've always explained it. A little bitty 10-watt amp, a 50-watt amp, and a 100-watt amp. That's like 3 styles of diodes. Like germanium's going to feel like your small tweed amp. Not sonically, but headroom. Meaning like if I turn it up, I'm going to clip it faster. And the middle is going to be like 50, 40-watt amps. That's the silicon thing. And then LEDs are like, you're never going to clip it, probably. So these transistors, in the place of a diode, is really low.
Yeah,
it's like,
and that's what's the whole magic. The difference between those germanium.
They're
diodes
clipping faster than germanium diodes. They're really.
Otherwise, it really wouldn't have worked. If it would have been like a silicon diode, I think there's other people that have already modded the Klon and put silicon diodes in there, and it just gets louder and cleaner and more spikier.
Yeah.
So it goes in the wrong direction. So it was really, really lucky that these Russian transistors had a smaller, turn-on voltage.
I think I sent you were playing with, did I send you like some OC71s and
some? I think you sent me several pounds of transistors, like a box of them. But you were dead on, man. Those things were not transistors anymore. There was something wrong with them. They were defective. They weren't even diodes. They weren't even good. I can't use them as diodes.
Yeah,
even. They were sad.
Yeah, and a lot of times this is a good trick. If you're a DIYer, you end up with like, let's say you get really good at fuzz faces or tone benders. You're going to have some transistors that aren't going to be in the HFE or the gains you want. You can make a little cup, set them aside, and use them as diodes. That's like, this is the perfect way to not waste transistors you don't want to use.
That's what we did when we would have a bunch of transistors that made a bunch of popcorn noise, really staticky, and yes, crazy, strange, random noises. But they don't make any noises like that when they're a diode.
Well, what you do, Robert, is you do a lo-fi edition of this. That's right. You do the Manis lo-fi.
Right.
You turn it on, and it's like...
That's vintage goodness.
Yeah.
That's
the
not
more
bad sound.
noise there, the more true
Tone.
the tone is.
Yeah.
Peak Klon noise frequency.
Frequency. The acronym is getting bigger.
Yes.
So we want to... Like, what all have you tried in it? Do we want to experiment with some different ones?
Well, we could actually. That would be fun. Let's put that.
So I just happened to bring like
All right.
several hundred.
Great.
I don't want to brag or anything.
But I got 6 clones on the table right now.
Transistors today.
I brought. This is my favorite Japanese transistor.
Oh, me too. Yeah,
These are
I love
NPNs. You use these in your
Fuzzbender.
You did.
Yes,
You did. Okay.
I love those.
So we got those.
Yep.
I brought these for complete chaos. I have these old stock Darlingtons,
Ooh,
but these
nice.
I just wondered like,
They can be
what
weird.
is a
That's gonna be
Darlington
weird.
gonna do?
I know.
Did you try that?
Nope.
So a Darlington is like 3,000 HFE. It's like absurd.
Right.
It's almost unusable. In
2 transistors.
Yeah, it's. I wonder what that would do because it's two. I don't even know if that'll work because I wonder if the.
It'll probably be like putting an LED in there or something, right?
And then this is just a box of PMP germanium stuff I don't have enough to put in its own boxes. So this is like assorted
All right. Hey, so what? You want to try the
Yeah,
Japanese
Texas
Matsushita?
Instrument germanium,
Ooh, those look nice.
This just got a lot.
Italian germaniums. These are old tone bender, like the Vox tone benders. We can even
Italian
do.
germanium.
Stop.
Do we have the? He has the box stinger
No
ready.
way. RCA solid state boxes.
I'm gonna freeze till the stinger comes
that
up.
is so sexy.
Stay in peak clone frequency. Don't get out of this.
There.
Those are
This is
amazing.
some old germanium.
Can you imagine just
Smell this. Smell
Yeah,
this.
I love
Pass
the
it.
smell.
Pass it around.
Vintage electronics.
Look at these old General Electric. Black.
I've had some of these things. Aren't these like United States Air Force looking?
Yeah. Look at this.
GE.
These are these Bumblebee Valco
No.
old. Anyway, the point is, let's try some weird crap.
Yeah.
Because I
Maestro look.
saucy.
great?
I've never
Wow, huh?
done it. I've known about this. It's fun, and I have a big transistor collection, and we talked about that. And I have been wanting to use some of them up.
Yep.
And it has crossed my mind like to do this on some circuits. So I've never really messed with this. Like I always start with hearing stuff, and then like you have your audio precision here. We eventually get there at JHS. But I'm just so curious as to what some of these sound like. So what are you popping in there?
The
I'm
Japanese
putting in
ones.
the Japanese ones, the 2SD.
All right, the two SDs.
Maestro, did we even audition a ton
I
of
think
transistors, or was
I
it
think
just
we were so excited by the
out
way
the
that
gate?
these
Yeah.
sounded. We're like, then when we tried the other variants,
Yeah.
because what's interesting is that all of these Soviet Union transistors, the MP42, MP38, they seem to have a nearly identical turn-on voltage, like this
Yeah.
whole family. And I was actually speaking with one of my friends or acquaintances who lives in Siberia, Oleg
Oh,
Bokarov, and he
a
said,
guy.
and he says, I can't believe I saw your Manis pedal. I ran out of germanium diodes, so I decided to use the GT404 and the GT402. I just talking to him today, and he's like, yeah, that is an incredible sound. I agree with you. It's a totally different sound than just a germanium diode. And it's all because that little gap is a little bit different. So if we put this up here in this
Let's
mode,
try it.
See,
I pulled the chat up here. I'm gonna. Let's see
Oh, that'd
here.
be great if someone has a question.
Yeah, we'll do a Q&A later.
See, this is really interesting. Now I'll have to see. Do you remember what these are 2SD? So that means that they are
Yeah.
NPN.
Yeah, those
These
are
are NPN.
NPN Japanese. Yeah. Wonder what that'll do. I mean, it should just still work because
You know what's interesting?
You're not applying
What do
an
you
AC like.
Yeah, what do you see on the analyzer with it?
It's radically different.
So yeah. Okay, let's remove
break
the
that
picture in
down.
picture and. Robert has his laptop here. This is so nerdy. Like this is This is short circuit, like government level nonsense. So this is a tool called the Audio Precision. If you want to go look it up, you'll need to sell a liver.
Yes.
But this is what people like Robert use. We use one when I have done things like the bonsai pack rat. This is where we compare stuff. Like this is how you don't do the forum thing where you go, my 808 sounded better in the 80s. This is how you don't do that. So this device is really cool, and it has a software that he's basically visualizing the hardware with. So he has he's comparing the units. I'll just let him explain what he's doing here. We popped in these NPN Japanese.
So this is a really great example. You can see, I hope you can see that the two different waveforms, because I'm looking at this pedal and this pedal. And,
Channel is our standard Manis on Maestro for the people.
and so this one that I'm holding over here is on the blue, and then this one is on the red. And you can see that they're reasonably close. I have a hard time because I don't have knobs on here, so I've just had to put Sharpie on the knob. So things are kind of close.
Yeah.
But you can see.
So let me show them top-down camera. This is the blue, and this is the red. Just so we know. Now you can go back to the screen. Okay.
Yeah, this is the blue. Right
And
here.
blue is what channel, Maestro?
That's your normal issue that you're doing.
Channel 1.
Channel 1
Channel
is our
1.
standard Manis.
Yeah. So that blue line is the standard for sale today. By the way, these are for sale today. Forgot to even mention that. This is release day. Congratulations.
It is.
Dude.
And we had a super great start to the day on this. That took off.
And they go to dealers, your website,
They go to dealers, you can go to our
robertkeeley.com.
website.
Yeah.
This is GC right here.
There's a GC edition.
You made my day. I think that gold Manis looks great. So you can go to Guitar Center, Musician's Friend.
In the chat, I grew up saying praying mantis.
And we kept the T
And
in there
these
for
Oklahoma people are saying Manus. We just need to fight that out in the chat.
Josh. The
It's
T's in the
Praying
logo.
Menace.
They put the T in the logo. I want to. Here's what I want. This is all I ask. Print me one that says Mantis.
Yes.
Peak Klon
Josh.
frequency.
Mantis Peak Klon Frequency
That's the
Edition.
byline.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay, so Maestro, you
So
said
check this out.
channel 1 is our standard
Yep.
We're just going to
Manis.
cut to the chase. So on this red
You
one
got
here,
confused. You just said Mantis. Yeah. Channel 1 is the stock.
Mantis.
Blue is this crazy Japanese version. Right here. Yep. All right. Let's show the
this
screen.
is the red one. Am I doing something weird? No, this is the red one.
Yeah,
too much
which
coffee.
is channel
This is
2.
Everything
This
we've
is the
said
red
is
one.
backwards.
Yes.
The stock edition is blue. The red is the red is going to be the unit right here that we switch transistors to play with. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And you can see that when I put it in that Japanese germanium transistor mode, I put this up, that the signal collapsed. It's clipping a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Right? And if we put it back in Klon mode, they're going to be identical.
Yep. Keep that screen up.
Yep.
So if you look right now, basically the waveform goes to 600. If you clip this, how are you doing that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did
Yep.
it. Yep.
Right here.
Yep. There you go.
That's germanium
Now-
transistor.
That transistor is clipping around 200.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's just a totally different device.
Maestro, when you take our standard Manis and you put it in germanium transistor, does it look the same as the
Same
Japanese
time,
one? Put that channel 1, the blue one, in germanium transistor,
Yeah.
and now compare it.
See,
Do they look the same?
they're different. These two
Yeah.
germanium transistors are a little bit different. Check this out, Josh.
What are you laughing at, Josh?
The comments.
Isn't that funny?
Mant ass.
Mentos.
Manos hands of fate. Phantom Manus.
Phantom Menace.
Amanda Coombs. She's been around. She's on all the
awesome.
short circuits.
Yes.
Mantis is the way.
Yes, Mantis is the way. How fun.
That's awesome.
That's
they're
hilarious.
they're loving it. All right.
Yeah, so
There you
basically,
go.
Josh, what we discovered is they're both in germanium transistor mode, and you can see that they're
The difference
different.
between the
Yeah.
Japanese
All right.
and the Russian.
So let's put that analyzer up. So the difference in the Japanese and Russian device, transistor is the device, it's quite different. The red Japanese NPN is clipping about at least 100
Yeah.
millivolts faster. So there you go. So there's this endless playground of like really low forward voltages that most people never get into. You usually have a germanium diode or a Schottky, and you just hang it up and go, cool.
They're very similar to each other.
So this is this weird thing where you're using a device how it's not supposed to be used, It's technically not efficient for manufacturing,
Right.
but it's something no one's done
Yeah.
in this way.
We got really lucky
Yeah.
because all the different transistors in this series, these have all they say MP something on there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a pi symbol, but these happen to be MP42Bs. is what we call them.
42Bs.
And the like the MP 38, for example,
Yeah.
has such a very similar
Yeah.
clipping that I can use them interchangeably. It's really
amazing.
fantastic.
If you go to eBay,
Yeah.
these little you're never gonna see this because I'm giant and it's tiny. But when you're looking at them, the 42, there's the M42 germanium transistor. You'll see the designations A and B. A is higher HFEs, and B starts to be a little bit lower. All that means is like A's. I think the A's are like 200, 215, and B's are like good pedal fuzz face type numbers, and that's what you're using here, ironically. But just know that it kind of doesn't matter for this.
Not for this one.
Not at all. Let's try some. Let's try these. Well, actually, now let's go a step further. Can I pull these and measure
Sure.
them? Because I want to know, and there always is someone on Short Circuit smarter than me, but I just want to say, it's interesting to me. I wonder what the relationship is between the gain HFE of a transistor and the forward voltage of that transistor as a diode. If that makes sense. There's like
Yeah, I
four
don't
people
know.
that got that.
I can't remember if I
Is
remember
there a
any
relationship?
discussion of that, but that the forward voltage had anything to do with the gain. I think the gain is some other character,
Yeah.
but I
Because
just have forgotten.
right now, if we've pulled these Japanese devices out. I have it in my DCA right here. I'm going to analyze this transistor. It has a gain of 70. Okay. But does that relate to the forward voltage at all? And this would be not for this episode. I mean, it would take hours to do like some kind of case study on this and measure a ton of stuff. I don't know. Maybe someone in the comment has some info there.
AI says that no, the forward voltage of a diode does not affect the transistor's gain. So that's what.
Yeah, it would make
It
sense.
says it can affect the sound of it. Obviously, we're noticing
because
that.
the transistor is fascinating because it's an amplifier. It's a active device, and a diode is a passive device. So we're using this passive piece of the device, and we're kind of not using part of it. I don't know the math there. It's like we're not using 33% of the transistor, hypothetically.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's
No, we're not using the collector. We're
Yeah,
only
we're
using the
not
base and
using-
emitter. Of
yeah.
all
So
these.
there is no the thing I've said on the show is like the ladder of potential when you're biasing a transistor from emitter to collector. That's gone. There's nothing active about this. It's just a passive component. I think that's really fascinating. These are really low HFE. These are 0.22.
Right, and you saw how it was very small clipping.
Which explains why it was clipping faster. So
Yep.
again,
So you have to turn up the volume more. To
you'll
make up
never
for it.
find a diode that low.
No.
I mean, maybe. I think I have a.
You
I
might
have
find
like a
some German
little.
ones.
I think I have like 10 or 20 of these little black military spec things. You're never gonna find. I found them in some like store somewhere. Yeah.
Right.
Let's try these.
Sure.
Texas Instrument. This is a favorite of mine. These have like 200 HFE, 244s. Let's just grab a couple. And
There you go.
gold leads. I think how a transistor looks affects the sound.
It does. Gold legs always sound better.
My nickname in high school was Gold Legs.
Your basketball days.
your
They were like, "There's old Golden Legs.
Give it to Golden Legs.
Golden Legs is open."
He's in his peak Klon frequency.
Man, if I'd had a Klon during high school, I would have literally ruled. Can you imagine flexing a Klon in like 1996 as a high schooler?
Bro, can you imagine dunking on someone?
What did he sell them for in the beginning? It was
It was
actually
like
very reasonable.
250. Well, with inflation,
Yeah.
we had this discussion. They're
Josh,
about
wow.
1,000. They were.
About 1,000 way back then.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, everyone picture Josh with his golden legs
What's up?
dunking on someone with a gold Klon around his neck.
Let's see here. This is going to be memed, and I'm sorry for the internet. Sorry, y'all. Let's see. Adjust $300 for inflation from 1995. So to be fair, people, this is the thing. We had this lunch discussion. It's a $600 pedal when it came out.
Wow. Oh, that's fantastic.
I mean,
because
$600 for me and
a
my
premium.
my Ford Ranger that blew smoke out of the busted head gaskets cost like $300. You know what I'm saying?
my first Honda was $800. So
Yeah, it's pretty wild to think about. It was actually always expensive. People forget that. They forget that money. They forget the dollar is not the dollar. The dollar has no.
we had a very
We just
similar
like literally talked
discussion
about this.
Yeah.
all day yesterday.
Yeah, the dollar has no definitive definition, and that's like
It doesn't.
It's like really hard when you get back with pedals and you're like, "Oh, it's $250." That was always pretty expensive, but now they're ungodly.
Are we about to shift from gold clons to the gold standard and just spend the rest of the?
If the U.S. dollar was backed by clones, we'd be in a much better position.
You want to wear this, Robert?
Sure, I'll try it once.
Did that come from Fort Knox, Josh?
Yeah, this is. George Washington brought that from Kentucky.
Over the Delaware River.
Yeah, it looks good on you. All right, so now we have the Texas Instruments in there, and I haven't measured them. And is this accurate up on your screen?
Let's see what's going on.
I'll take your jewelry.
Hey, these are.
They're pretty close.
Are those the?
We're in. Oh yeah, they're very similar because we can't exactly determine where the knobs are. Let's see what they look like here. I'm gonna make this one.
If you do max gain, what does it do to your? How does it affect your? Well, it's gonna cut the.
Look
It's
at
gonna
that.
shark tail it.
We got a shark fin.
Shark fin it. Sorry.
Triangle wave.
I've apparently
Hey,
never
but that's
seen
a
a
great.
shark.
That's a great.
What did you say?
I said it's gonna shark tail it. What I meant is the tail on the top of the shark.
Oh right. Very specific.
Y'all know what I mean.
Look at how identical those are. So whatever you got over there is pretty good sounding too.
Yeah, and these
Texas
are just
Instruments.
vintage
TI.
Yeah.
That's what I put in most of the Java boosts was the CV7003
Yeah.
from Texas Instruments.
Let's try these Italian.
Who's the manufacturer on those? Like Favre or something like that?
That's a great question. They're the TG designation. Do you know?
No, I don't.
You'll see these in the Italian black tone bender that like Jen
Wow.
made. Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
you'll see some type of that.
Hey, these kind of look like the I was going to say tongues ram, but are they tongues ram?
Tungsten.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Tesla. I had some Tesla transistors.
I think
like
I have
from
some
Hungary.
over here. Yeah.
Hungary or something.
Yeah, it's weird that Elon made transistors in the 40s.
Yes, he did.
Super weird.
He was a co-founder of Tesla Transistor.
Josh, how much do you think those Texas those vintage transistors are? Like, are those?
They're not goofy crazy. What gets crazy is like the British black glass stuff I
Yeah.
sent y'all. That was
Those
obviously
super
garbage.
Yellow and then blue glass. Those
Yeah.
really expensive.
Because
Yeah,
that might be cool if it is more expensive, say, than the Russian one that we're using in the Manis, for people to know that they looked identical.
These are definitely more expensive.
Yeah,
Oh
so-
yeah. Here's the thing with the Russian stuff is it's actually the Russian transistor. We'll say Soviet. The Soviet transistor. That's the
That's
technically correct term. Is kind of an anomaly because it's higher quality, lower leakage, lower noise all around, made way better than almost any transistor available today. And it's the cheapest. It's like a weird break in the matrix. Like they're still really cheap.
Yep.
It's just because they don't have any pedigree. Nobody's like, my Rangemaster came with Soviet UFO. Like that didn't happen. So, but they are the best transistors because you don't have to fight them. They work. Yeah.
Well, these are a little bit different. I don't know if we were to.
Yeah, they're a little different. Is that rounding off?
Something is a little bit more.
The
rounded
red
off on-
is rounding off. Wonder what causes that.
Yeah, so that's the one Josh has right there. Yeah.
Is anyone enjoying this? Let me check
Yes.
into the chat
we need
here.
to see if anyone is having any fun. looking at these pictures.
Yeah, Boki, what's the vibe in the chat? Are we?
Hey, can I point out another part of our little graph thing? Where should I point if I'm going to point to the graph? I can't really point to it.
Yeah, you can't really point at it, but you can explain.
Okay, I'm going to explain. Hey, folks, if you check this out, this is one of the things you cannot get on your oscilloscope.
Yeah, pull up Robert's camera.
Look into the camera.
Okay, you can point at your laptop now and kind of show them, and then we'll go back to your screen. Yeah, that's what you don't get on an oscilloscope.
Yeah, this is what you.
Actually, hold on.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, we got a picture-in-picture.
Whoa!
Look at that.
Look at Richie
Look at
coming
that.
in clutch.
Richie is so awesome.
Tell us what that is.
Yeah.
Okay, so this side over here, you'll see that this right here is the fundamental frequency. I have my generator set for
Hold
1K.
on. Peak Klon frequency, please. Go
This
ahead.
is set to the peak Klon frequency, which is also known as 1.0000K.
Mm-hmm.
And and if you look closely over here, what this shows is what I was trying to talk about when we were coming up with this pedal and we first started putting it on the analyzer, is that if you compare to other circuits, this has got a really nice blend of second and third order harmonics. That's really all I'm trying to say here, is that you'll see that this is the fundamental Klon frequency, 1K.
1K.
But all these little spikes that you see right here, you might wonder what those are, and that's a varying amount of 2K, 3K, 4K, the even and odd ordered harmonics. So if it's a 2K or a 4K, that's an even ordered harmonic, and those are more prevalent in tube equipment. If you look at, say, crunchy Marshall distortion, you'll see a lot more, say, odd ordered harmonics, where you'll see just a big peaks on the 3, the 5, the 7. So I really find this fascinating. We have a tube
So
circuit.
this is what you're saying here, and I've never covered this.
Yeah, this is different.
Even order harmonics. So when you're looking at the 1K, that's the
Can you use
Fundamental.
the fundamental
That's zero.
Klon frequency.
Yes.
Can you use your mouse? Yeah, use the mouse, Maestro. There you go.
Oh,
Thank you.
look
Someone
at
in the
this.
chat gave us the cheat code
Yes.
there.
Oh, thank you so much.
So the
this is-
even, explain to everyone visually, even ordered means they're even, obviously, but like show them that.
Yep. Okay, so here's our the tone that our generator's putting out, 1K, 1000 hertz. Now, this when my analyzer looks at this distorted signal right here, it has a ton of harmonics in it because it's not a sine wave anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really been bashed up.
It's
so
shark finned.
it is shark fin.
It's the tip of the shark fin.
It's the tip of the shark fin.
Yeah.
And you can see here that there's a varying amount of second or even ordered harmonics, second, fourth,
Yep.
and then there's odd ordered harmonics where it says 3,000 and 5,000, and you see it kind of shoots out in a little
Yep.
array. If this thing were to, let's see if I were to do this. Watch how if I increase the level of the guitar, I'm going to change the input signal here.
I love this so much.
Check out this.
This is the nerdiest short circuit yet.
Okay.
The bad guitarist says, "Get those frequencies dancing like Peanuts characters."
Well, I can't quite show it. I wanted to show how the varying this gain control on both of these pedals can reduce the amount of
Yeah.
harmonics. But I'm
Stephen King,
upside down.
not King, the author. Stephen King says, "Could you show how it looks with other input frequencies like 250 or 3K?"
Yep. So I'll show it in two different ways. I can adjust the frequency right here. So let's just put this at 2K, and then you'll see that the harmonics move around. So if you look here, I have it at 2K is the fundamental Klon frequency now. And look at there. This is fascinating. It's so interesting.
Why is 1K what you chose earlier? For those
That's just how my machine wakes up.
That's great.
Everything in the world's based off of 1K. The
No,
fundamental
No,
Klon frequency.
I'm just at-
It's a lot deeper than that, Maestro. Don't.
But
Yeah, I love breaking it down.
I can move around these different frequencies, and sometimes we're interested in certain very low frequencies. We want to see what the bass response of our compressor is. Are we accidentally cutting bass? And so
Right.
I can play down here around 20 or 40 hertz. What I wanted to show you how this. Someone was asking, can we see a variety of frequencies?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can actually show all the frequencies at the same time. You can do a sweep, and it'll track. So
Yeah.
I'm going to sweep across both of these. We're going to put one of them in germanium mode, and we'll put the other one in Klon mode. And I'm going to run a sweep, a frequency response sweep.
So one is in transistor mode and one is in diode mode.
Take
and
the
bass.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You can take the base off if you want. And then
Right here?
that's
Okay.
Now we're just seeing the germanium transistor as the difference.
And now we'll probably just see it. Yep. They're almost parallel to each other. If you look, the red and blue are nearly parallel with each other. And each of them track the same frequency. There's a certain response and voltage at 1K. It's a little teeny bit down at 30 hertz, 50 hertz, and it's a little bit down at 10K. It's kind of mid-range focus. If we put the bass boost on,
We're
here,
proving with this live stream that there's a lot of people that love this stuff.
Full nerd.
The deep,
Yeah.
because nobody does this really, like in this way, or just casually doing it.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of. I could watch this all day. I was lost from the beginning, but I love it.
This is fun.
You see how Maestro's not even listening to you? He's just total nerd right now. Like
Well, he's been sucked into peak Klon frequency.
when he says, "This is fun."
The thing is, this is just what Robert does all day anyway.
It 100% is. What are you doing there, Maestro?
Well, I'm just showing the difference, how I can look at these different responses. I'm just going to set them up to be a little bit different in frequency response, and then just show people how we can use this to
Yeah. So
watch
you
our
have it.
tone control. I can do, for example, let's just turn off. Oh,
So he's showing you frequency response.
I'm gonna do a scan with. Right now, what you're seeing is essentially the Klon circuit with the tone control turned off, and then you see our standard Klon over here with the tone in the middle. Now, I'm going to add to those two signals, and this time I'm going to turn the tone control all the way up, and you will see the variation.
the blue is the tone control all the way up, right, Maestro?
No, that's the blue one because it stayed the same. And the red line, if I'm not mistaken, is right there up on top. I could be wrong, but you'll see that I have the tone control turned up, and we have a boost in frequencies on the high frequency side. The low end, all the way to like 200, 300 hertz, is virtually identical.
Yep.
But when you swing this type of tone control up, it just pushes the frequency response up. So it's these tools are really helpful
Yeah.
when we're designing our tone controls and everything. It just makes life so much
These
easier.
were like
They're like
there's-
13,000 each.
it was wild. I mean, but when I remember going through like rats, I had like 50 something
gosh.
rats on the table, which sounds crazy when you say it out loud.
Say it again.
I had 50 something rats on the table.
That's
Or,
crazy, man.
the bonsai with these tube screamers, and it's like,
Oh my gosh.
you can hear stuff, you can have an opinion, but you put it on here and you go like, this is absolutely what you've got to know if you're going to replicate it. You've
Yep.
got to, like, this tone control. And I remember in the bonsai, like, it was so helpful because one of my favorite tube screamers is this old Polish XR is the brand. And
Wow.
part of the sound was the horrible bypass system.
Yes.
And so you're able to get in there and like we were able to figure out, well, we're going to replicate the circuit, but we're obviously not going to put an active
Exactly.
bypass. But so you get in there and you're able to see it because our ears are dumb. Like our ears are
It's
so
very hard
dumb.
to keep track of sounds like that or to know them day after
Yeah.
day. Oh, no, it's a little bit different than it was
Yeah.
yesterday. But this meter here is
Yeah.
fantastic for that.
It's amazing.
We found the same thing with the Noble ODR.
The ODR is the
that
exact same.
buffer circuit
Yeah.
changes the sound of the pedal so much
You
and
have
changes
to-
other pedals
Yeah.
even.
When
You
we
have
would
to consider
compare
it.
the ODR, we had to eventually put
Design
it on
a
a
new
switcher.
switch box.
Yeah, because we would try to R&D with our
And it was interfering with the
Development.
pedal.
Because the bypass of the ODR was
killing this-
being
yeah.
heard in the other
Yeah.
part. Let's switch to let's see here.
Do you guys need some LaCroix?
I-
I'm gonna grab.
Let's
a
look at
LaCroix.
this top down. Look how
Ooh.
beautiful
Man,
the days of yore. I don't know what that even
That
means.
is- that is amazing, actually. That
These
there
are
would
old
be
Motorola's.
placing.
Somebody did this.
I know, it's
Whoa.
amazing. I got another 20 transistors off the line.
Look how cool that is.
Oh, sorry.
Let's like a couple of these
You,
Motorola's.
you've got them documented already.
Yeah,
You've
most
been loving on these
I
things.
measure every. Look at that. My kids, they do this for like extra money.
Well,
So they measured. My children have measured tens of thousands. They love it. They like brainlessly sit there and just like measure stuff, but they're great at it. They'll never be able to use that later in life, I don't think, but we'll see.
man, this is so cool. the
Let's
way
try
these
it.
are
Let's
marked.
pop these out.
Yep.
And see.
I'm not
one
gonna
of
cut.
those
I'm not gonna cut the legs off these.
Yeah.
Dang.
These were Motorola.
Yeah, these are Motorola. They were made. They're 2N52 designator A. They were made in
2N52.
1975.
2N52, huh?
Yeah, 2N52. Yep. Transistors are so cool.
Yes.
This is fun.
For us.
Yeah.
What was the last JHS pedal that you geeked out this hard on, like during the development?
It's those multi-modes require like a complete obsession because when you turn that step pot, we're using analog switches and redirecting through all those pedal circuits are in there, all
Yeah.
analog. And that's where this analyzer equipment is amazing. But then even things like Legends of Fuzz, I mean, you're replicating old fuzz pedals, and the point is to do it perfectly.
Yeah.
This audio precision stuff's amazing to have your old vintage fuzz and making sure it visibly scientifically matches, not just your ear. And when you do this first, the ear always works. Like you always play it and go, yeah, it's perfect because you saw it first.
Yeah.
I think it's learning a little bit to see something before hearing it and being like fun, letting that be fun instead of I need to hear it first. Well, maybe you should see it first, and then that's always going to sound right.
That's deep.
Yeah, it is. It's deep, What do we got here?
And I think
That's
these are
wildly-
radically different. I'm like over here stunned.
All right, so
As a matter of fact, when I put this one back in germanium diode mode, it was actually more similar to these.
Dang.
what
Isn't that
we'll do
interesting?
here is I think we'll move from the analyzer and like listen.
Yeah,
to
let's
some
listen to
here.
that one.
This is the Motorola 1975. Notice here, this is the nerdy stuff, but on the top label,
But it sounds different from, say,
military product.
that's interesting.
Yeah, which probably just in most cases just means really tight specs, right? Like when
I
the
think
military
so.
stuff
Very
is like
repeatable.
very repeatable, and for germanium, they're not repeatable. But
That's a pretty tight gain range, really, 80 to 120.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's interesting too is if I'm not mistaken, like if I put these both before we disconnect them.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's where I'm using the germanium diodes in both pedals.
Okay.
Okay, and they're identical.
Identical.
That's hysterical. And then as it should
Well, they
be.
should be.
Yep. But if I change this one to these very custom Motorola transistors, it doesn't change a lot like it did when I go over here like that. That's quite a
Right.
bit different. These have almost a very diode-like turn-on voltage then, because it's more similar to the Klon. And this here,
Yeah.
when I go to these Russian transistors, is quite a bit different. And that's how this whole Manis project got lucky, because if I had always thought that germanium diode junction in the transistor or in the diode is the same thing, it's just a germanium junction, I would have never stumbled upon this. Or if I would have taken these transistors, I wouldn't have noticed much of a difference.
It's interesting.
I
You
know,
just
I
put
got
the
so-
right transistor.
I got totally lucky.
Because he had them. He like
I kind
literally
of have a
just
thought
had,
too. I'm
yeah.
like, these things
Yeah.
are different, and they're me and you wouldn't build many fuzz faces with these on here. No, not these MP38s or
Yeah.
MP42s. We wouldn't build a fuzz face. So I knew that there was something different about them.
Yeah.
I just didn't. I couldn't have
It's
guessed
interesting.
that it would have been
Let's
so nice.
listen to those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's listen to them.
You said a great band name, Germanium Junction.
Whoa.
Yeah,
We should have a Midwest
And then their
jam
first
band.
album is
Yes,
Peak Klon
Germanium
Frequency.
Junction.
Peak Klon Frequency is the debut
That's
album.
the album.
Debut.
Peak Klon Frequency, the debut album by Germanium Junction.
The Electron Gap Band.
The
Electron Gap Band.
let's max the drive out. Let's go flat. And let's compare transistors. Yeah, let's do it.
Josh, let's switch. I want you to play.
Oh god, I thought I was
And
getting
try
out of
this,
this
and
without
I will
playing.
switch.
I think the whammy made that thing out of tune when we first started.
It's peak Klon frequency. It's okay.
It's great. I'm glad you brought a guitar because all of these are they're pretty decrepit string wise.
Yeah, so we're gonna compare where the green light. Oh, we need to switch.
Do you have a pick?
Pick?
Oh, I
Right
do,
there.
yeah. Okay, the green light should be our stock Manis. That's the Motorola.
Yeah.
Red light's
Wow.
Motorola.
Because they're more similar to the Klon diodes.
Maestro,
but-
flip that.
Yep.
Go back to stock on both of them. Yeah, and let us just. So we're just into that right now, the Motorola.
Yeah. That's so fascinating. Yeah,
Can you just
they're
go back?
those
and
are
forth
cool
on this one?
transistors.
Yeah.
These get a little louder.
They do.
They're louder, which
Yeah.
I thought it would be the other way.
Well,
It's
it is
interesting.
in our standard Manis. It is the other way, but that's interesting.
Remember, they were very similar to the diodes.
Manis.
Yeah.
Interesting,
It's
huh?
almost the same as the.
Klon diodes.
This.
That's
Now
weird.
compare it.
Yeah, so these Motorola military specs are the other secret diode, I guess.
Yeah.
They're like really similar.
They're very similar to germanium diode.
Let me measure. Well, they're 20. I did measure those.
Yeah, have
Let me
fun.
pop these out. Out of curiosity, on the DCA, let's go. Let's see here. What are you popping in there?
I was just going to put in a regular silicon diode so we could hear how
Yeah.
loud this would be.
See what
Let me
happens.
see. Oh, I need one more.
So those are 6.9.
That is like, that doesn't even feel like it's a germanium then. 6.9 is not, that's a silicon thing, isn't it?
How is
What
that
did you say?
possible?
That's why it's so loud too.
But
know.
again, using
I mean, I see the number on there. Those are definitely germanium looking, but that's
Yeah,
a crazy junction. I guess that germanium junction does not have to be 0.2. does
they're
not have-
reading as a Zener diode
Yeah.
with the
Crazy.
collector lifted. That's the nerdiest thing I've said all day.
You
They're
did, man.
reading as a Zener diode with
Yes.
the collector lifted. Get away from me, peasant.
I can't wait till all the people in the comments because he said an incorrect
Here,
statement
Josh,
about Zener diodes.
What's that?
You want me to take this so you have
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
move around?
Let's use
I would
these.
like to see what this sounds
Yeah,
like. Just
do
for a
that one.
second.
Do that one.
Can you?
There's your pick.
Okay.
See.
We gotta play guitar a little bit for these people.
Mm-hmm.
It's really all they want.
Play some of your.
Okay, so we're on.
Fandango
What are we
licks.
on right now? These are the silicon
Hopefully,
diodes.
I just want to hear. I just want to hear the silicon diodes. The difference. That's Klon.
That's the gain down
right
a little
here.
bit.
Did I have
Yeah.
something wrong, buddy?
No, this is right. It's when if you max this out, you're clipping that threshold anyway. Like so to hear the difference in the germanium and the silicons, this would be pretty prevalent. That's silicon. Germanium.
I wonder if I have something wrong.
Well, anode.
Can we just take these out for just a second?
You have
I wanna
the
hear what
anode.
I want to hear what no diodes
You have
sound
the
like.
anode in the emitter. That's another band name.
That's definitely
so true.
that's the
so good.
opener band.
I lost my anode. It's in the emitter.
I'm emitting anodes everywhere.
Man, I've been emitting anodes since 1999. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't know what it means.
Play
Here we
this
go.
one here and flip
Yeah.
this. This is no diodes. Diodes don't matter. We just discovered the diodes don't matter.
What did you say it again, Maestro?
Diodes don't matter.
Play. That's definitely it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no difference. So what is that? What's the conclusion, Maestro?
I don't know. I'm lost now.
Play. Play.
Yeah. Okay,
Oh,
there
yeah,
it is.
that's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
loud.
It was.
Now let me. I could hook that back up on the analyzer. We could definitely see that huge
Yeah,
change.
you would definitely see it.
So what was happening there is when the switch went up, there was no diodes.
No diodes,
So
no
it's just-
clipping.
yeah.
no hard clipping.
Let's put these
Back in.
1960s General Electrics in here.
Someone said turn down the guitar mic for the love of God. That's what happens when we don't have any diodes in
When
circuit.
there's no diodes. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Help out here.
Someone said the gummies are kicking in.
Yes.
I haven't had any gummies.
What are these that you just put in? Those are-
Anode to joy, someone said. All right,
Those are
these
super
are
cool looking.
old General Electrics.
Ooh, yeah, baby.
Gotta be good, huh?
You would think.
GE. The American germaniums are louder than the Russian germaniums.
Which means they have a higher forward voltage.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
The Russian ones have a lower forward voltage. And that's what
And it's
gives me
weird
my
to say
magic.
that a transistor has a forward voltage.
But that's because there's 2 diode junctions in every transistor, right? P and P.
That's what
Look here.
makes a transistor.
Yes. Yeah. So like
Top
there's
down,
the
we got a
collector.
nerdy
We
drawing.
got a drawing.
Pull it in, pull it in.
Hold on. Yeah. So
Yeah, a transistor is 2 diode junctions.
like there is
Yep.
the diode.
Yeah.
Someone said they're high on germanium.
Yes, we are high on germanium. So this is a diode,
Yep.
and this is the transistor.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that they both have a diode junction in them.
Yeah.
This is the second one that's in there, but you can't really use that for the same purposes.
Yeah,
that we
like
have
you
here.
can't connect the collector and base as
No.
a diode.
Not going to work.
But-
So like in this one,
It makes
this
me
is
want to do it.
Do it.
I know it's not going to work, but I'm like, maybe that would work.
That's your mantis
so
pedal.
in this particular case, I have it.
I'm going to make the JHS Mantis. The JHS Mantis is just everything broken. It's your pedal, but broken.
It's the lo-fi version.
Let's measure this General Electric, though. I'm curious. These sound so good in fuzz faces.
Is it like 4?
Robert's over here doing some art.
Well, I was definitely making mistakes, is what I was doing. I don't know about art.
What does it measure? What's it
It
measure at?
says it's a diode junction, which it's not. Hold on. I bet there's some confused people in this stream. Testing. This is measuring as a diode junction, even though it's a transistor. Oh, Lord. I'm confused. That Sharpie smells great. Let's see here. Why are these measuring as diodes?
What do you mean? You have all 3 of your little legs
Yeah.
here?
This is... Hold on. There is nothing on YouTube this weird right now. There's probably
You remember that
somebody's
day
like, hold my beer.
that you were trying to fix a pedal and it ended up being the ribbon cable?
Yeah.
That was rough, huh? Man, rough.
These are all measuring as diodes. I wonder if my battery's
Stick a
dying.
transistor in there and let's see
These are
if
transistors.
I mean, stick one of these transistors, these known ones.
We're fading.
Here.
No, I got it. So apparently, all of these are reading as diodes.
None of them are coming up as transistors. They're just showing the diode junction. They don't show the gain on any of these.
Nope.
Well, that's pretty strange, huh?
But I've measured them, or they wouldn't be in the
Yes,
vacuum.
exactly.
I
So
wonder
what's
if my
going on?
battery's dying on my DCA.
2N4918. Definitely don't know this one.
Wonder if my battery's dying on my DCA. Yeah, they're all diode junctions. All right, moving on.
Oh, no.
I mean, that's fine. They sounded great.
Yes.
That's what we're
Are
doing.
we gonna auction those
Just
off
a
right
little
now?
confused. We're going to auction these off to the highest bidder. Let me find... Here's the other thing I wanted to try. I wanted to try these Darlingtons,
Yeah.
which...
I don't think they're going to sound much different than open air, though, because open air is like a, there's
Yeah, I'm
no
just-
diode junction there.
For me, it's the curiosity. It's a stupid curiosity, which is...
Like, what happens if you put them in your transistor tester? What's it going to say? It's
It's going to say
croak.
like 5. Well, no, it's going to measure them as Darlingtons and say
It will, it says
3,000. Oh, yeah, it knows everything.
Oh, that's great.
You don't have a DCA?
I think Creighton does. I don't have one.
16,800 HFE.
Jeez.
It's accurate, too, huh? It even drew the Darlington symbol.
I'm going to send you one of these for Christmas.
Oh, thanks. Oh,
Let's
nice.
make a... Richie, make a note. Robert Keeley gets
a
an Atlas DCA for
DCA.
Christmas.
All right.
If you're curious about that, there's a link in the description to like an Amazon shopping list of DIY tools. This is
super
32,000.
heavy.
32,000.
That's crazy, huh?
So let's get crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You want to...
Yep. Let's stick those in here.
Ian Bennett says, these are the guys I want to have McDonald's breakfast with when I'm 70.
That would be so fun.
Uh,
I have no idea
Oh.
what the pinout is of this.
it'll tell you based on the
Oh,
color.
okay.
Let's see here. Play some Zappa.
Oh, there
That's
we go.
all Maestro. Maestro's the Zappa king.
Emitter.
Diode jokes are the new dad
Base.
jokes.
Green is the base.
Not a diode.
That's a good band name.
Ooh. See, I'm glad I looked at that because
Get out the multimeter, dudes. I mean,
know, that's
we
what we
talked
should-
about...
we
Josh
did.
left it at his
just
house.
so y'all understand. All right, I was packing up. Robert drove from Oklahoma. I totally left all the multimeters at my house because we're like, I'm just not where I normally am. So you're gonna have to forgive me.
That is like
My
nerd
favorite thing about
bona
short
fides.
circuit is like, this person is not like that, but you'll have people that chime in like 3 months later and episode like, well, you should have done, and you blah 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 blah, and it's like, just breathe, man. Just take a breath. We're trying to have fun here.
I've got one of these crazy guys in there.
There's a lot of people just complimenting Keeley pedals, which I love.
Oh, that's so nice.
Big
guys.
fan.
We
of,
try so hard.
Yeah.
We really
Dark Side, big fans.
we overanalyze things to try to make sure it's as cool as possible.
Is it Manis or Man This?
Man, this
A lot of fish comments.
Hey, here's something kind of cool about the Manis or the Klon or any of these type of things. If you can go to the screen here where I have my distortion
That's a
and
one.
feedback. Okay, so all I did was take the drive control down. I'm actually in Darlington mode. Look at this huge. Hold on. Sorry, I didn't have any distortion. Look at that.
I really want to hear this.
Huge. I know.
Well, it's so much.
Here.
It's so like.
Massive. Look at the massive difference with that Darlington in there, right?
What's the forward voltage of a Darlington? Did you?
I don't know. I didn't look at it.
Yeah, you want me to look at it?
maybe it's 2. Maybe it's 0.7 plus 0.7, right?
You think that's what it would be?
Base to emitter, base to emitter.
You're better at math than me. My senior year, I had cabinetry for math.
All right. Good for you.
I went to a small county school.
It worked out well for you.
Did it?
You have 6 clones on the table right now.
Yes.
10. This says
Your math is just fine, dude.
This says I can't do math. This says diode junction 10.5530.
It's Atlas. Atlas is telling you that 10 volts. Well, I don't know if I agree with that one, but what I wanted to show is how remarkable the Klon can clean up when you turn the drive control down.
No, it's 0.8.
Okay, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you could set up a difference between a regular diode. That thing would be louder, punchier.
0.8's like in LED lamp. Well,
It is.
yeah,
it's getting close.
It is close.
Yeah, I think LEDs are almost always above a volt.
Yeah.
1.2?
Yeah, 1.2, 1.4. Yeah, that's in a strange space.
Yeah.
0.8 is a strange forward voltage. Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting because when we take this here,
You want to listen to it?
sure. Here, this
Again, do you know the pin out?
I got it finally figured out. I got to take the outside two and put them on the base emitter junctions.
Okay.
I did read your little thing here.
What is your feelings or
Feelings.
Robert, how do you feel right now? What's your thoughts on, you hear the discussion a lot about diodes? Forward voltage matters, but you can have 2 diodes with the same forward voltage, but they have a different knee. You hear this talk of like the knee of the diode.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts? Have you ever thought about this?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, like those Schottky diodes and regular diodes like this have got a pretty abrupt knee as soon as it gets to whatever the voltage is. Let's just say
Turns on.
0.6. Yeah, it's
And
done.
we could
And
we
it's
say
a sharp edge.
would it be like
Very
really ignorant in the proper term to say the knee of the diode is how it turns on? That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. I don't want to get butchered
So,
later.
no, I think if you were to put like a diode and a resistor to ground in series,
Yeah.
right, and you start turning up the voltage,
Yep.
at some point in time the diode would turn on.
And clamp it.
Yeah. And then that would be all the voltage that would ever drop, really, essentially across the diode, and then all that increase would be on the resistor below it.
And technically, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just trying to like spit this out. I've never thought this deeply about a diode. I feel like I'm really finding something here. A diode is really a limiter.
Yeah.
And I remember when I interviewed Bob Meyer about the Big Muff, he's trying to tell me how he invented cell phone amps and missiles, and I keep asking him about the Big Muff, and he doesn't care. He's like, yeah, I just used a radio limiting clamp and the feedback of the transistor, and I designed the Big Muff in 5-10 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And he, from the textbook form of a diode, it's a limiter. I mean, that's what it's made to do. So in that same sense, a limiter compressor has a knee. We always think of that. And that's what's going on. That's a similar thing there, how it turns on, how it activates.
I think with compressors, it's a little bit different of a concept because you can adjust how that knee is shaped. So in other words, like when on a compressor, instead of it just being, say, a hard limiter, which would be, say, nothing above 0.7, but that the compressor knee kind of controls how much it follows the rule, so you can actually slip past and you can play a little bit louder because that knee is not so drastic.
Gotcha.
So those types of things are a little bit different. What I find fascinating, though, is when you look on a scope, not necessarily on here, but when you look at a scope and you compare different types of diodes, you do see a difference in the knees because some diodes turn on very quickly or have a very sharp knee or whatever we're going to call it, and they can actually put like high frequency spikes and weird, say, anomalies in there, whereas any of these germanium devices have a much softer edge to it, and it's never going to be kind of a spiky, harsh type of thing. But that's another thing that the Klon kind of avoids too, because a lot of times after you've gone through a distortion circuit and you've jacked up the voltage,
You're blasting it.
then you're going to distort the tone op amp. And that's what Bill did so clever with the Klon, is he put the tone control on a much higher operating system. And
so you're not getting
you don't get
rail clipping.
which can sound, if you do a lot of it, it can sound great, like an OCD, full tone OCD's got tons of op amp clipping.
Yeah, rats.
It's a sound.
Too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this doesn't have very much, if any, right? It
Interesting,
never goes to a square wave type of thing.
You want to hook these? You want to hook that up
Sure,
here?
yeah.
All right, this is the
ready to play?
Darlington clipping. I would go.
We've never experimented with this
I would
one.
say no one has. I
No,
mean,
no.
I doubt anyone's ever plugged Darlingtons into the clipping of a Klon.
I would have
here we
almost
are.
bet they didn't work.
Here we are, live on TV.
Maestro is yawning. That's what just happened there.
Let's see here.
I've been up since like 3 this morning waiting for Manis Day.
Manis Day is upon us.
Tremendous.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
That's
That sounds cool.
So here's the stock.
That's bright. That's interesting.
I'd also have to look at it on here. That's not really pointing at me.
Do it again.
So it's louder when you put this up, right?
It's not just louder; it's doing.
It's brighter.
It's letting
Yeah.
frequencies through.
Isn't that interesting? Oh, that actually makes
Why
a
is
little bit
that?
of
Why
interesting
is that?
sense. Now I don't know exactly how a Darlington is made, but it does seem like there's maybe
It's a high. It's high passing.
Yeah.
yes, it's like there's a capacitor across the junction and it's letting the highs go through it. No, that would probably make them go to ground more. So
Why is that letting highs in?
I mean, theoretically, the
I
clipping
think it's just
shouldn't
louder.
affect.
Louder is more
frequency.
better.
Yeah.
But the Darlington, has to be introducing capacitance to do that, right? It has
Well,
to.
it's remember like you had said before, the diodes are not in the circuit when it's
yeah, until you're cranking it.
yes.
Well, yeah.
And these have a higher turn on voltage, so more is going to get through transparently before it's clipped.
Yeah, closer to the LED land.
Yep.
More is going to get through, resulting in less
Being
modification
clipped.
at
Yep.
all of the circuit. Let's crank it all the way and see. It sounds really good.
That's great.
So,
I got your next pedal.
stock.
Dude, just
stock.
call it the Darlington.
Yes. Ooh.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Will you put it back on up the up
Yeah,
position?
play just one more time on the stock. So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is the germanium diode. And then here's the Darlington. I
That is
just wonder
great.
if it's basically like an
pretty cool.
LED,
Dang.
but we just don't have LEDs here, so we're like, because this is the problem with the ear.
Oh.
I wish I didn't bring any LEDs.
I got some LEDs.
You got some?
I
All right.
got some
This
LEDs.
is how we know if we're insane. But this
There
is
could be some magic in the
this is what
Darlington
I'm
that we
always
never considered.
But this is what I'm always preaching. This sounds really cool.
Yes.
But if from all these years I'm gonna go, we're gonna put some boring LEDs in, it'll sound the same. Because it's like we're excited because it sounds different. That doesn't mean it's new or better.
Right.
Your brain just can't hold on to that well. You know what I mean? Like, but it may. I'm gonna laugh if the LEDs just have the same high passness.
High passness.
High passness.
The same frequency response.
Yeah. The Gnarlington.
Dude.
Have a dog on it.
The gummies are kicking in, huh?
Let's see here. Sean Weatherford, 2 diode junctions in series gives a complex AC impedance response.
I can understand that.
I don't understand that. I can understand
Kind
it.
of like two capacitors,
But I
too.
don't.
It's too well. That's what I was wondering. So yeah, that's what I was wondering. Is like, the Darlington is not a transistor; it's a circuit.
It really is, because I think there's probably even small resistors
Put that
in
on a
between those.
t-shirt.
I don't know. Fight me.
No,
Darlington is
that's.
not
I think
really a
that's what
transistor.
you were trying to say, and now I just get it. Like the Darlington.
There are some. I
There's a
think there
lot
are some
going on.
a little bit of resistors in there and stuff like that. So.
Huh.
But that is a really interesting sound. I did not expect the high
Dude.
frequency to go up like that.
Josh,
Here you go.
play that real quick.
Here's.
You want to do LEDs
Well,
versus?
this is an LED one. If you put this switch up, it'll be LEDs. If I'm not
Let's-
mistaken.
Here you go. There's your input,
All right.
input, output. So we're gonna do Darlington versus boring, classic
LEDs.
like
LEDs.
Keeley Seeing Eye Klon.
Yes. Keeley Seeing Icon.
Who remembers Keeley Seeing Eye mods in the chat?
Yep. DS.
So that's red. Yeah.
That's cool.
So red is
Here's-
the Darlington.
Now I've got it. in
Are they?
LEDs.
Hold your hand over that. Are they lighting up?
That's so cool.
It's a Seeing Eye Klon.
God, that's so fun.
Which is this? Red.
Darlington, yeah, it's the red one.
You know those are gonna be little horsey eyes on your
Oh
pedal,
my
on your next
God.
pedal, dude.
The
Seeing Eye Klon.
The Seeing Eye Mantis.
Yes.
A praying mantis with glowing
Oh, a
eyes.
Seeing Eye.
They sound the same, don't they?
Yep.
It's pretty similar, yeah.
Yep.
It's happening.
It's happening.
It's just that's a great example
Because the
of
clipping
memory.
is so much higher. Remember these
Yeah, the
Russian
forward
transistors
voltage.
are so. I got so lucky that they were smaller than a germanium diode. That turn on
Yeah.
voltage.
Yeah.
Everything else is bigger and louder.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the fact that everyone just saw me especially freaking out over Darlington's hearing something. And I've tested LED, you know, and then I'm like, it's probably the same as an LED now that I actually think about it. It's just that's how our brains work.
Yeah.
This is that thing with remembering a sound. You just don't.
Yeah,
You
it's
don't
very hard.
really have it in you, which is why you need this kind of testing equipment. I will say this does feel harsh. There is something harsh about
I don't
this.
doubt it at all because this is going to have those very distinctive turn-ons.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a
There's
harshness to the LED one. The
That's a
green light.
little chalkboardish.
Yeah.
Is that a tone word?
We're going for it today.
Those sound better. Darlington
Ironically,
sound better
those
than-
do sound better now. I would say it's a different. It's rolling off highs or something. Oh,
You know,
God,
these
I'm so-
these are going to have still a different turn-on voltage than these LEDs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
Which
if
in
it was
turn,
1 and 1.2, that'd be huge.
it would be huge. And these are 0.8,
Oh, there you go.
right? Yeah, 0.8.
And these are probably 1.1, 1.2.
They gotta be 1 point something.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's too crispy.
And then here's a Klon. Go back to a Klon.
Put it on the green and just toggle. So Klon
Yes.
germanium, which is like 0.3, 2,
Yeah.
2.
there's-
The back end of that, if this was like a whiskey or something, it would just taste like diapers. Like in the back, like if you know what I mean. That back end would just be like, it's vile. It sounds like bacon crisping on the top. Like there's like a high
Yes.
up
Little pop.
crackle. Yeah, it's
Oh,
horrible.
that is harsh.
And that's like butter on a roll. And then back over here.
Yes. No fun.
It retains
good.
the warmth.
Yeah.
And then what if we go germanium there? That's really cool.
Fascinating.
I want to do a
There you go.
my darling Klon. My darling Klon.
Yes.
Can we compare, lastly, Maestro, will you take those LEDs out and put back
Sure.
our Russian transistors that we use in the Manis and just compare the Darlington?
Someone said not steak and eggs.
Not steak and eggs. Whatever you do, not steak and eggs.
This has been really fun.
It's amazing.
We've been
I didn't
sitting here for
expect-
like an hour and a half.
That's
wild.
incredible.
These poor
I
people
really
on
didn't
this
think.
stream.
Hey, I wanted to cover a couple other things that we did
Let's
really
do it.
cool. And one of these, again, is Creighton brought to the table on this, is that you can put our Manis 18 volts, and normally that would crater a Klon. Matter of fact, we were going to try to scare you and put 18 volts to one of your Klons. Just, you gave me the look. Did you see that look? He was like, yeah, you've been dead.
Yeah. So talk about
Yeah,
this.
what happens?
Did you do?
What Creighton did is he put, like, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 12-volt regulator
Yep.
before the charge pump.
That's clever.
I know. So
That's
he goes
really
right
clever.
on up to the maximum the charge pump can do. So now we actually have this difference. You can put 18 volts to ours now, and it'll clamp it at 12, so it never damages the charge pump. But you can actually hear the difference between running it at 9 volts and running it at 18 volts.
Oh,
And
yeah.
now we're not damaging. You're not damaging your pedal.
So
if
you can run it at
accidentally-
9 or 18.
Yep. 12, 15, anything you have.
But the regulator is gonna protect the charge pump.
The charge pump.
Because the
Up
charge
to 12.
pumps die a horrible,
Death.
smelly death.
Yes, very
It
smelly.
smells like
Burnt
cooking
sand.
plastic.
Yeah, burnt sand and plastic. So that's one thing
That's
we
a
did.
really great idea.
Isn't that fun? So finally, there's a Klon that just doesn't self-destruct if you give it too much voltage.
This clown will self-destruct
Yes.
in 1 minute. Poof.
The other cool thing we did is our true bypass buffer bypass system. All you have to do is hold this for 2 seconds, and it just switched over to true bypass that fast.
That's killer.
Do this.
Yeah.
Now it's buffered bypass 3 flashes. It's got the buffer
It's
in there now.
amazing.
That is, I think those two things. First of all, the difference in clipping voltage, exploiting that in a different direction than silicon, so that putting the transistors in there, the protection on the power supply, so you can't nuke your Klon power supply, and then true bypass or buffered in literally 2 seconds.
Such a good design.
That's so fun. That's what
your design is. I mean, your team's amazing.
I got a great team, man. They are amazing.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
so
lot of
good.
fun.
I love that charge pump idea. That's really clever.
Protect all your stuff, huh?
It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, most repairs, if you look at us, it's like low percentage of repairs for what we make, low percentage of repairs needed for what we make. But it's usually true bypass switches from old pedals, or people just nuke a pedal. They just straight nuke it.
Right. Wrong voltage.
Yeah, they're hooking up like their freaking yacht battery to it and just smoking it. And then
There's
and,
yacht battery to it.
they're listening to
listening to
Steely
their
Dan.
yacht.
They're on the
Diesel
yacht. They're making a bologna sandwich. They're not paying attention. They plug in 100,000 volts. And then
120
you get
volts
an
to it.
email and you're like, hey, is this under warranty?
Yeah.
I plugged my yacht battery up. The regulator is really clever.
We've
Oh,
covered
fun.
so much ground.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so fun.
let's do, I guess...
Q&A?
I mean, Boki's in here. I don't want to put him on the spot. Are there some good questions? You want to do a little Q&A, Boki?
Yeah. Tell them to ask questions and then
Yeah.
stall for a minute.
Yeah, let's ask some questions. Just for professionalism, Richie, play the Q&A stinger just so it looks professional, like we know what we're doing. I'm just trying to be professional.
I love it.
When you're on the internet, there's a responsibility. Okay, the bad guitar says Josh knows about yacht batteries. I'm on here now. So
Okay.
let's take a minute with Robert. These are questions directly to Robert. About his pedal, the Manis. We don't want to talk about anything else. These are available right now. Keeley's website, dealers. Yeah. Obvious question to answer there. Let's see. People are loving the buffer to bypass. The
Isn't that
voltage
great?
thing's getting a lot of love.
I mean, it's so fast. You're like, do I have a problem by using too many buffers? Turn it off.
And then you just know.
Yep.
All right, I'm watching. When I'll paraphrase this question, do you design your pedals to have other pedals in mind pairing them? Do you ever think about that?
Well, we're getting ready to do a lot of that because we're trying to come out with a reverb workstation that that you might be able to plug a delay pedal into or put stuff into a loop and do all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So yeah, sometimes we do. Like for example, if I'm thinking about envelope filters, I'm always thinking about some kind of boost or something to kind of push the envelope filter so that it responds a little bit better. So a lot of times you do think about what pedals are going to be used with this particular pedal frequently so you can, catch any potential mistakes.
Bass Rat Man. Great
Bass
name.
Rat Man.
Why did you choose that name?
Bass Rat Man? What? I don't remember picking that one.
No, the Manis. Why did you...
Do you mean the Mantis?
Mantis pedal name.
Oh,
Why
that's
did you
easy.
choose the Manis pedal name?
Okay, well, Creighton is working on a tube Klon, right?
I played this.
Yes.
I played it.
This is a, nearly 200 volt tube Klon. And yes, it is crazy. We're having so much fun with it. We're trying to come up with a MIDI Klon and all kinds of stuff. We really have fun with this idea. The reason we do put Klons with it is because it's a harder circuit to work with. It's an 18 or 27 volt circuit, and it's very picky. And if you do anything to it, it'll change the way it sounds. So that's why we're trying to do all these elaborate things, and then we put the Klon with it because it's difficult. So, but they were asking, what was the question again? I'm so sorry.
Just how'd you come up with the name?
Oh, the name. Yes. So the tube Klon is called Clovis. And I asked Creighton, I was like, well, what comes before Clovis, man? What was before that thing? And he's like, I think it's Manis. And I'm like, hey, that sounds like a great name.
That's really clever.
So, yeah, our stripped down Clovis is a Manis.
I'm excited for the tube
Yes.
Klon. I did play it. It's wild.
Oh, yeah.
Seems that Trey from Fish got these early for an acoustic rig. Can you talk about how that came to be?
Yep. Right around the same time, well, slightly a hot minute before we came up with this Manis, and talking about Manis names, Justin Stabler had written me, and he's like, hey, you told me about all your Klons that you got going. It's a great time. Trey's in the mood to listen to some other Klons, your Klon ideas. And I was like, oh, our tube Klon isn't ready yet. And I said, then I ran into Creighton's room and I was like, dude, we have to come up with a Klon right now. What ideas do you have? And he said,
oh, wow.
and I was like,
love
I
this.
have this idea where I want to try Russian transistors, germanium transistors instead of diodes. So put that on a switch. What do you think for the other one? And he's like, oh, I got this bass boost idea worked out where I boost the bass right in front of the clipper.
Yeah.
And I said, perfect. So he got a board ordered. In days it comes in, and we literally are getting these things out to Trey within a week or two.
I love
we put
when
the whole thing together.
something unexpected like that pushes you and to get something done. Like it's like motivation. Liam Hines, are the transistors socketed in the production units?
No. Well, first of all, we had to go through the whole ROHS thing. How do we get this pedal with germanium and lead everywhere on these components? Well, we got extremely lucky because these Russian transistors, when I sent them off to Intertech, had 0 lead in them. They destroyed 13 of them, melted them down, and found no lead on them. They didn't even use lead on the legs for the solder. Okay, but the glass diodes failed 2 different ways.
Wow.
The glass envelope on these diodes has lead in it. So I'll come back to that one.
Violation 1.
Yep. And then the legs have lead in the solder tinning. So what they told me to do is they said there's actually an exception for lead in glass or ceramic. So the guy told me at Intertech, he said, you just need to write in here claiming this exception to this rule that you can have lead in glass. It's not going to break down the same way, et cetera, et cetera. It's not going to get into the environment if it's trapped in the glass or ceramic. And then he said, on the legs, what I need you to do is I need you to sand off all the lead solder that's on there, put your fresh tin solder on there, modern lead-free solder on there, scrape all that off, and then solder it again, and send me 13 pairs of those legs and see how it does. It went down from 11,000 parts per million to less than 400 parts per million. So now my diodes, what we do is we take off the solder, the lead solder, install them in there, cut that off, and then
Amazing.
we have a lead-free,
Yeah.
almost lead-free diode, germanium diode, where the glass is actually an exception. You can claim an exception for lead in glass.
I did not
and
know this.
I know. I'll send you the information.
That's wild.
It is wild. I just found this stuff out just a couple weeks ago. It was at the last minute that we got the approval.
We covered this in the beginning, but this is 2 hours.
Yep.
What's the difference?
Oh, the difference
People
is
are, you
huge.
know, yeah,
There's
go over it.
there's nothing similar at all.
And
I
he's,
think
he's holding the Oxblood, which is the first, this camera here, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it's the first kind of Klon thing you ever did. So what's the difference? That's a good
Yep.
question.
So this has a true clean blend circuit. This drive control,
Yeah.
the drive circuit is actually set up for maximum distortion, and this is just a clean blend, around it.
So it's always max blend.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And the tone control is pretty close to a Klon tone control. I didn't step outside the bounds there because that's a very
Yeah.
unique thing. And then, so this has got, probably doesn't have germanium diodes in it. If I remember, this has got like the Schottky diodes in it and 2 different clipping styles, but probably neither of them germanium.
Yeah.
And so you know what people noticed after I came out with this and I put the pictures on that dry erase board up there? They were like, hey, this is just like the Maxon OD820. And I sure enough, I pulled up the schematic and I was like, how interesting. They do a clean blend, just like we ended up doing here. I mean, it was so similar. It was
Super
very similar.
Yeah,
I think we use a charge pump in here too. So
Yeah,
And
and I love that pedal.
Yeah.
And if there's a little more talk on that at the front of the episode, if you want to go back. Belle wants to know who your favorite employee is right now.
Oh, this guy right here, because he's standing here. The guy that brings me to your place.
Let's see.
Actually, they're all great employees.
That question is asked a lot because the Oxblood it gets brought up a
Yeah.
lot, so people are asking. Everyone wants a tube clone.
My wife is my favorite employee.
There you
She's
go.
an employee. So
Here's Jordan from Poison Noise. Is really good in the spirit of short circuit. He's a great engineer. He has a big nerd question. He says, "Do you think you can effectively soften the knee of a Schottky clipping diode by placing a small resistor like 5 ohm in series to make it sound more germanium?"
Well, that's exactly what I would try. I'm always
Yeah.
trying to think of
I would
ways
think
around
that's what
that
I would
too.
try too. I've never tried that, but
Like,
I would.
what if I put a capacitor here? What if I did a little bit of this? A little bit of series resistance. That's kind of what I was thinking when we were at the Darlingtons. Because in my head, I can almost picture seeing a little teeny resistor on some of
There's something going on
Yes.
there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
Hey, but that would be fun to tame the Schottky diode.
Yeah. I have trays of those. This is there's about 1,000.
You've got an impressive.
There's probably 1,000 or more in this cage. Yeah, they're all in the bags.
You got an impressive collection there.
Let's see here. Looking for a couple more good questions. Yes, there is a Discord. If you're unaware of that, in the description below, you can get over to that Discord, and it's very nerdy. I warn you. I'm warning you before you go. Amanda asks, if money didn't matter, what's one pedal you would give to every guitar player? That's a great question.
Oh, if money
That's a
didn't
good
matter.
question. I'll say out of the Keeley line.
Out
What's-
of
if
the Keeley
if
line?
you, I would take
Yeah.
it that far. Like I love that question.
Oh yeah. So I would give everyone a Halo. Honestly,
That's amazing.
that's a fun pedal. If it was something else, I might pick something like a DL4 or something. But I'm a huge rabid fan of that pedal.
Yeah. Let's see here. Some people are having a hard time believing we're still live. I'm looking for one
much
last
time.
question. This has been really. I love that question though about what would you give to every player.
That is a good question.
Halo's a great pedal. Halo's a great pedal. Let's see.
It's
I guess last question is, Robert, do you have an always on guitar pedal?
Well, it's quickly becoming the Halo. That's
Yeah,
what I was gonna
just
say.
always on.
It really has. I used to try to say I wish I used the compressor all the time, but sometimes I'm not into the extra
Mm-hmm.
noise of a compression or just that sound. So that was never an always on pedal for me.
Yeah.
But anymore, when I'm hooking up pedals in my office, there's always a halo on because it just makes you sound better.
I'm excited for this little secret.
Ooh,
Yeah, we can't say much. there.
good boy.
Good boy.
Hey, that's actually comes about because of the halo. So this is
I was
another.
wondering, yeah,
this
yeah.
is another Andy Timmons thing, and his ideas on reverb.
Put it on my cam and just look how uncomfortable this looks. It's not only a butchered hand; it's like swollen. Yeah. Well, I guess this
Oh,
is.
thank you, everyone.
We could sit here forever and change directions.
Have you
I
ever
love this style of the short circuits are normally me by myself, very more of a classroom line by line subject. This is fun to kind of ramble through.
Yeah,
If
and
you're
try different stuff. That
I
was
love
so
it.
fun.
Yeah, if you're new to this series, there is a playlist. Nothing will be like this episode. This is a little bit more loose and fun and just conversational. So yeah, go check that playlist out if you're really interested in building and understanding circuits. But yeah, as of right now, let's put the nice little pictures up, Richie, of the product. The Manis is live today. How do you get the black and red one? We don't have
The
that
black
here.
and one, red one is from my site only.
Okay, so that's a
RKFX.com.
from RKFX.com exclusive. The gold is Guitar Center, and the silver is the general one. I'm taking it. Yeah.
Everywhere.
What's the price on these?
$1.99.
That's so cheap.
I know. We wanted to
should
do
have
the price
charged more.
increase, but we're like we wanted to lift Manis up and give it every hope possible.
Yeah.
And so
You
we
gotta
did it
lift
at
the
$1.99.
Manis. You gotta lift the
I
Manis.
want to. I want to have people experience that softer,
Yeah.
rounder sound.
Yeah, as a pedal builder, knowing what's happening with costs and everything, that's cheap. Everyone should go grab that. It's so affordable. And I know as a company, there's a little bit of a sacrifice in there to get that out and make it
Yes.
accessible. I understand that. Our entire lunch was about tariffs and inflation. But yeah, that's an amazing price. I was expecting $249.
I really wanted it to actually be $249. I think it's totally worth it. The tone is incredible. It's some of the best things we've done, honestly.
I'm sure they could mail you a check for $249.
Right?
Could you imagine getting checks for pedals? That's a whole
Actually, I
other stuff.
started out doing that.
Yeah, yeah. I had some people back in the day. I used to get cash stuffed in the mods. Do you have that?
In the
You
battery
you
compartment?
get the blues driver with the form and there's like cash in the battery compartment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. This has been a blast.
Yeah.
This
Thank you
is
for
awesome.
coming
Thanks
out.
for
We'll have to
having
do
us,
something
Josh.
like this again. This is a really fun format. Have a great week. It's been a while since we've done one on a Monday. Yeah, go to Robert Keeley's site. In the description below, you'll see links to all kinds of stuff. Like I said, DIY, kind of what parts to buy, that kind of stuff. There's a link to an Amazon shopping list there. There's also the Discord. There's the JHS membership for YouTube. Robert's playing with a goat. I think we're done here. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.